Ooh, okay, welcome back. So I am doing three Jokers. Let's just get into it. Okay, so first of all, as a preface, because I didn't really know how things led into the three Jokers, and a lot of this comes from Wikipedia, just FYI. So it says during the Dark Side War storyline, Batman sits on the Mobius chair, which is a time space dimensional vehicle operated by the new god Metron, with Hal Jordan observing. Batman asks the Mobius chair what is the Joker's real name and is shocked by the results. It is later revealed in Justice League Volume 2, number 50, that the Mobius chair told Batman there were three Jokers, which he later brought up to Hal when he asked about it. And Batman states that he's going to have to look into that later. So there's the preface. I did not read Dark Side War. I had to think about it, but no. I feel like I was aware of that thing, but that was a slow burn. I don't know when that was, but seems like a long. So three Jokers. Do you want me to tell you about my history with this book? My history with this book is that people kept telling me that I should read The Three Jokers. And my thought was, why on earth do you not know who I am? Are we not friends that you would tell me to read this particular book? I don't need more Joker in my life. I need way less. They kept saying, Barbara's got a great characterization. There's interesting shipping going on with Barbara. So then, I thought, why? Well, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I mean, I was even guest starred. I even guest starred on Rob and Everybody Loves a Drake. And Rob asked me about what I thought about Jason and Barbara and felt bad like he spoiled. And I said, no, I knew about it, but I can talk to you about it. And I thought, might as well. I've got some space in the back half so I can talk about it. So that's my history. Basically, begrudgingly, I read it. And I guess I'll save my reactions and everything. So I went on Wikipedia hoping to get a synopsis for, the story. Little did I know I was getting like a full book synopsis. So I might be talking for the next 15 minutes about the synopsis. I mean, thank you, Wikipedia. But this is like more than I've gotten for, I don't know, Test the D'Urbervilles or something I've done over at Required Reading. So I just scrolled past one and it's longer than I imagined. But my margins maybe are smaller, so maybe it'll be okay. Luckily, I have some liquid that I can refresh myself with. Okay, so I'll do the synopsis. And then I guess I'll do the synopsis for all three and then take each issue at a time in talking about this. And I'll also do screen share because I do have the issues digitally. Okay, so three Jokers. Number one, writer Jeff Johns, artist Jason Fabok, and colors Brett Anderson. And that's not going to change, so I don't need to do it anymore. Batman crashes. I've just remembered. Okay, Batman crashes his Batmobile over Thomas Wayne's tombstone, badly injured and in need of medical care. Alfred takes him inside and heals his wounds, of course. Pennyworth asks Mr. Wayne what was the cause of the damage this time. Penguin's umbrella is the answer. And I have to say, which is something that I complained to Donovan about, that someone needs to come up with the standard of, are they wearing armor or are they not? Because that's ridiculous. While the butt where stitches the cut, Batman recalls the history of all his major scars. Three of them, they were made by the Joker, every time a slightly different one with a different weapon. Acid-sprayed flowers, razor-edged cards, and the stick of a tiny flag, which was part of a toy gun. All those memories about pain make Bruce go to that scene, that moment of redefinition, the shooting of his parents by Joe Chill. Again, the voice, yeah, that's interesting. Let me just break this. As many times as I complain about the Killing Joke being revisited, it probably pales in comparison to as many times as we've got to see Bruce's parents get killed in the alley. And I suppose they're comparable traumas. I don't know. I'm trying to not compare people's trauma, but I suppose it's the defining trauma of the character. So there you go. Shooting Stranger Chill. The voice of Alfred and the news telling about Joker killing the last members of the Moxon crime family wake Bruce up from his thinking. He must head out to find the clown prince of crime. Barbara Gordon is running on a treadmill. This scene reminded me of a scene from Strangers in Paradise XXV. No, it was Gosh, it's going to be forever because I keep thinking of things. But if you've read 5 Years, I think it's called. Ooh, yes, 5 Years by Terry Moore. There's a scene where, is it Tamby? I think it's Tamby is running on the treadmill and scares people away because she's crazy. I mean, crazy as in like really in shape. Anyway, okay, so Babs is running on a treadmill while remembering what Joker did to her in Batman the Killing Joke because we need a reminder. Barbara hears the television talking about restless leg syndrome, and the television talks about beloved comedian Kalani Apaka being killed by Joker in her home. Babs steps down from the machine, broken by her frantic pace, and goes away sweating. Back home as she takes a shower, her fingers trace, yes, we always need a shower scene. Her fingers trace the scar that the Joker left her. There, a bullet made Barbara unable to walk and move her legs for a long time. Thank you, Wiki synopsizer. In a graveyard inside Gotham, Red Hood is mauling down some thugs. Oh gosh, who wrote this? Related to the Joker. He's following a trail and he wants to take what? Oh gosh. Whatever. He's following some sort of trail. For a brief moment, the criminals get the upper hand, getting Jason to think back at his most tragic moment, of course. The Joker slowly but painfully beating him to death with a crowbar. Waking up from his trance, Jason finishes all his opponents, revealing that he knew from the start that they would have no useful information, and he just wanted to stretch his legs. So at least you can see that there's parallelism or anaphora going on with the trauma events are being showed. Outside Ace Chemicals, Detective Harvey Bullock and Commissioner James Gordon are inspecting a crime scene. 3 men were murdered and tossed inside a vat of chemicals similar to the one that, in theory, made the Joker into who he is. They are all dressed like the original Red Hood. Batman arrives and starts talking with Batgirl, hidden above, about the fact that Joker used those murders as a diversion. His real plan was stealing a truck full of his Joker-turning chemicals. Babs also noted that the Joker wanted to be seen in all 3 crime scenes, including this one. He directly stared at all the security cameras in the area. Suddenly, one of the 3 supposedly dead men wakes up, laughing and asking for help. He gets loaded inside an ambulance, and Batman tells Batgirl he will escort him to the hospital while he goes to the comedian's crime scene. Commissioner Gordon asks Batgirl if she needs a ride to the scene, but she answers him she's all right, calling for her motorcycle. While traveling, Bruce asks Barbara if Jim knows about her secret life, with the girl telling him he does not. Girl? She's a woman. Then the driver of the ambulance starts to call for help. Someone is attacking the victim inside. As Batman gets in, he discovers that Jason is the one beating the Joker-eyed man, as he wants information about what Joker said to him before making him take a bath. Batman is furious with the Red Hood's attitude and tries to stop him. Meanwhile, the Joker is driving the truck full of chemicals to an isolated house in the woods. He gets out and knocks at the door, starting a joke. Another Joker opening the door finishes it. The one outside, the clown, welcomes the answer with surprise, but the second Joker, the one inside, tells him that he wrote that line after all. He's the comedian, dressed in the same shirt he wore when he shot Barbara Gordon, paralyzing her. The clown, though, tells him he should not wear his things, and the 2 start discussing who was the one that crippled the daughter of the commissioner. Still, they stop and get in as the boss is waiting. The clown comments that he's the only one thinking he's the boss, while the comedian tells him that someone has to be. Inside, the criminal is waiting. A third Joker. He tells his 2 comrades about the plan. They have the chemicals and they must set up the baths and find some talent. He tells the comedian to come with him to evaluate candidates, while the clown will organize the baths. Back to the ambulance, Batman injects the antidote inside the victim, healing him. Jason comments that the guy was accused of domestic violence against his own son. He was worthy of every punch Jason gave him. Still, the 3 vigilantes need to focus on finding the Jokers and stopping their plan. Their investigations lead them to the Gotham Aquarium. In there, they find a vat full of Jokerized fish, including not Harold, though, not that little guy. Oh, I lost it. Including a menacing great white shark. While they start theorizing what the Jokers might be planning, they are attacked by a band of thugs led by Gaggy, a former lackey of the Joker that the madman called his court jester. As the shooting from Red Hood breaks the glass, the great white shark comes out and eats Gaggy alive. In that moment, the Joker comes out, launching some piranhas at Barbara. And please, people, remember that Gaggy was eaten alive by that shark. And he's dead now. Please remember that story point, because I'm going to bring it up a lot. In that moment, the Joker comes out launching some piranhas at Barbara, and then shouts to Jason he wants more of his fear, of his pain. Batman catches him by surprise and knocks him out. With Jason and Barbara sure that he's a real deal, Batman does not answer and leaves searching for the other two, telling Batgirl and Red Hood to keep an eye on him while he organizes the transport to Arkham. The two start questioning him, with the Joker laughing and tricking them with some gadgets. After eliminating all the traps the madman has on himself, the Joker starts sharing his thoughts about Red Hood's decisions in life. He's trapped in a cycle of violence, even taking the clown's own former alias for himself. Joker provokes Jason. He wants him to shoot him in the head. Jason thinks about this act and he starts warming up at the thought, while Barbara tells him that's not how they work. As Batgirl tries to, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Joker last laugh. As Batgirl tries to make Red Hood reason, the clown reveals to Jason a detail about their almost lethal encounter. The Joker left him alive on purpose to hurt Batman with guilt and remorse. He also reveals a dark secret, that in order to make Joker stop beating him, Jason begged Joker to stop and promised he will be his Robin. Joker laughs that this is true, that Jason adopted Joker's old identity and is spreading violence and destruction just like the Joker. This causes Jason to snap, and Barbara tries stopping Jason by throwing a batarang, but Jason manages to kill the Joker by shooting him in the head. A shocked Barbara leaves after Jason tells her that even with all the ideals and the moral, she purposely missed her throw, as Barbara has been shown to never miss. Alone with the corpse of the man who changed his life, Jason hopes he was the real deal. So that's number one. Number two. Golly. Going to be speaking for hours. Oh, okay. Inside the hideout of the three Jokers, the comedian is hallucinating on having dinner with his family when the criminal comes into the room. He questions the comedian's actions, telling him this is not the time for fantasies. One of the three is dead as the Red Hood shot the clown in the head. The comedian is clearly pissed at the criminal for interrupting his role playing, but does not react. Meanwhile, and I should say that with this, there's a wife and a son involved in that hallucination, because that comes into play at number 3 at the end. Meanwhile, the Batman and Commissioner Gordon are inspecting the house of Judge Walls, murdered by his dogs who are infected with Joker gas. While trying to understand why the Joker targeted the judge, Batgirl steps inside, telling Batman they must have a private word. Babs reveals to Bruce that Jason killed the Joker, or at least one version of him. Batgirl wants Batman to take action into his hands and stop Jason, as he is now a criminal, like he wasn't before. But Bruce tells her there's nothing they can do about it. If Jason confesses about murdering the Joker, Batgirl will be put in jail as an accomplice, oh my gosh, as she was there during the murder. Also, Bruce still regrets being unable to protect Jason. He is deeply wounded by the fact that he did not understand he was still alive after the Joker took him. The Red Hood is hurt. What? Doesn't make sense. Bruce wants to protect Jason because he wasn't able to before, basically. Barbara tells Bruce he must talk and reason with him, also asking him why he didn't approach Jason earlier about his attitude, like way back when. Batman answers that he hoped with time that Jason would heal and become a stronger version of himself, just like Barbara did after her own personal tragedy. Meanwhile, Jason Todd is still out hunting for the other two Jokers, willing to end once and for all the career of the Clown Prince of Crime. He successfully guesses where the Jokers are right now and heads there. I wouldn't say guess, like he actually is a good investigator in this story, but there you go. At the same time, Batman and Batgirl go to Blackgate Penitentiary. Inside the crime scene of the murder of Judge Walls, Batman found the fingerprints of one particular criminal, Joe Chill, the shooter who killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. Bruce understands what is Chill's part in all of this, so he breaks into his cell while passing the cells of Rupert Thorne and Dr. Phosphorus. And when Batman arrives at Chill's cell, he finds it empty, and Babs tells him she discovered Chill is sick and terminal from stage 4 cancer, and he only has a few weeks to live. Red Hood's trail leads him to Gotham City Athletic Association, an abandoned sport club. Opening the locked door, Jason steps inside to find dozens of bodies bathed in a Joker-turning chemicals-filled pool. Shocked, he tells himself that Batman must see this. In that right at that moment, one of the bodies takes him by the leg, and screaming for help, Jason shoots him. Oof. I should rephrase that. The body is the one screaming for help, but Jason shoots him. As he struggles to focus, Jason gets hit from behind by the comedian, who drags him away from the pool, mumbling about him being perfect for their plan and also collecting Jason's helmet. Naked! The Hood is bound to a chair. when he wakes up. The criminal starts speaking to him. Once a petty thief, he was reborn as Robin. Then, broken by a crowbar, he was reborn a second time as the vigilante known as Red Hood. But things happen in threes. He will be reborn a third time. Just like him, he will change. Before Batman, he led Gotham's crime. But then Jason... What? See, I need to pre-read these things. So just like him, he will change, and he is going to lead Gotham's crime now, reborn as another Joker. Jason explodes in anger, cutting the madman off and telling him he already shot the brains out of one of them and he will be the next. As an answer, the criminal starts laughing, then stops, telling Jason that laughing hurts him. Jason tries to take something out of what the criminal told him about that he could be the original Joker. The criminal then tells him why he was taken as a prisoner, as the comedian puts the Red Hood helmet on Jason's head, now painted with Joker smile. They're searching for someone to turn into a perfect, better version of the Joker to antagonize the Bat. All the victims they killed were tests for their final product, but they were not enough. Jason is the perfect candidate. They know he hates Batman, and they know why he adopted the Red Hood alias. But in the end, they decided that Jason's not good enough. So he'll have to pass the opportunity. Once the criminal finished talking, the comedian strikes Jason with a crowbar through the helmet. Moments later, Babs and Bruce find the place as well and enter inside. They are attacked by the people the Jokers bathed in the chemicals, and after some struggle, they come out victorious and soon find Jason unconscious and naked on the floor. Babs is in shock while Bruce approaches him to check him out. Jason explodes against him, telling him he explodes against him. Jason explodes, telling him to stay away as all that happened in his life is Batman's fault. In anger and despair, Barbara tries and succeeds in calming him down. Jason just wants a safe place to stay, so Barbara takes him to her apartment and leaves him there to rest. Batgirl tries to make Bruce do something, but the Batman tells her Gotham is a priority now, and Jason is safe. They both leave. Jason finds Barbara's wheelchair and books about nerve damage and pain therapy. After a while, Babs comes back and enters the apartment where Jason gets out of the shower. Jason confesses to Barbara he looked through her things, especially the pain therapy books. They agree about the fact that there are a lot of similarities between them and their tragedy, and Barbara tells Jason she lived through a moment much similar to the one he's having right now. She wants to help him get better, and as they look into each other's eyes, they kiss. This sigh. Barbara then breaks the moment, telling Jason they are making a mistake, or they made one, who knows. Meanwhile, Batman is investigating inside the Batcave about some missing persons files, while also observing a place in Alaska on the globe. In Blackgate, the comedian kidnaps Joe Chill from the infirmary and starts to record his confession about why Joe Chill murdered Thomas and Martha Wayne. And, if my voice can hold up, number 3. Inside the Batcave, Bruce, Barbara, Jason, they are investigating the plan of the 3 Jokers, who, well, now down to 2, who are trying to find people to transform in other versions of themselves. They go over the pictures of the additional Jokers and identify them as a dentist, a serial killer, a drifter, a babysitter, a judge, an artist, a city planner, a zookeeper, an actor, a painter, a fisherman, a felon, an inventor, an interrogator, a chemist, a fighter, a talk show host, a cult leader, a stalker, a coroner, and a surgeon. Boy, I could have stopped any time then, but I was just too stubborn, so I decided to finish the list. Jason also told Bruce and Barbara about the words of the criminal. They want to create the perfect Joker, even if he does not know what they mean with that. One thing is sure, though, the Red Hood wants to kill the 2 remaining Jokers, as Batman is too weak to do it himself. This enrages Batman, who tells Jason if he really believes that he never wanted to end Joker's life, he did desire that many times, especially after what the Joker did to both him and Barbara. As Red Hood and Batgirl argue about the role of Bruce in their lives, Batman tells Jason he will never understand why he chose not to kill the Joker. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They argue. Okay. Ending any kind of argument, Bruce wants to focus on the case. He analyzes the three Jokers and the fact that each and every one of them played a role in his career. The criminal reminds him of the first encounters he had with the madman, similar to how the Joker was in Before Crisis on Infinite Earths. While the clown brings up memories of cartoonish, macabre showmanship like hiring Gaggy as a court jester. See, I'm not going to make it. The comedian with a sadistic streak stronger than the others links him to the Joker he faced a few times, like in Batman Endgame and Joker War. Batman believes that one of those is the original, and then at some point he created the other two. Barbara, though, tells him that another option might be right. The Joker created these two recently to better hide his identity. Batgirl hopes that in this confusion they might finally discover the true name of the Joker, and she asks Bruce if he has some knowledge about what that might be. But Jason tells her that he would not say anything to them and that he believes he knows far more about the Joker's past. But Batman says that if he knew the Joker's real name, he would share it with them. They get interrupted by, that would have been the time to fess up, Batman. They get interrupted by an alarm signaling something happened at Blackgate. They discover that the Joker's kidnapped Joe Chill. While investigating inside his cell, Batman finds a group of handwritten letters that Chill wanted to send him, but never did. To know more, he needs to address Reverend Evans, who could tell him what was going on in the conscience of Chill. Talking with the Reverend, Batman learns that Chill wrote the letters long before he got sick and that he really could have changed. It's an interesting phrasing. Perhaps he did change. Anyways, feeling guilty for what he did that tragic night. He does feel guilty. Meanwhile, outside of Blackgate, Jason promises to Barbara he will never do what he did with the clown again because of her. Oh, that's lovely. The three head to the condemned Monarch Theater. As inside the pack of letters, Batman found one clearly inserted there by the Joker and a ticket to Mask of Zorro, which is a reference, obviously, to the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. They enter. A video about the confession of why Chill murdered the Wayne starts being projected on the screen. Where he mentions that he had no idea that the people he shot were Thomas and Martha Wayne. As both Barbara and Jason are occupied with several Jokerized goons, Batman faces the criminal alone. In the end, the criminal says to him he will face the Bat together with Joe Chill on the scene of Batman's original tragedy. There's much knowledge going on here. He also tells Batman he thought about turning one. He also tells Batman he thought about turning either Jason or Barbara into the new perfect Joker, but they lack the characteristics needed to be the ultimate version of the Dark Knight's nemesis. From this, he chose the killer Joe Chill because Chill matters more to Batman than the Joker himself. They can do anything to him, but they will never surpass the pain Chill caused when he murdered his parents. Turning Joe into the Joker would make him the one that matters. It's really interesting that all the Jokers know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. As Batgirl and Robin fend off the attacks of the comedian, Batman saves Chill from falling into a chemical bath that would have turned him into another Joker, also kicking the criminal out of the theater, once again demonstrating his morale, or his moral aptitude, I suppose. Batman saves Chill another time from certain death, surprising the criminal. Joe knows who Batman is and thinks it would be right if he wanted to take his life. As the criminal reappears ready to blow off the explosive attached to himself, the comedian shoots him in the head. After this, he asks Batman to take him in. Batman rides with comedian, who happens to be the real Joker, with quotation marks, I would say, riding to Arkham with him while he told Jason to get back home with the Batmobile. Jason once again approaches Barbara, telling her that he would like to be more than friends, but Batgirl says that Jason interprets what happened between them differently than her and keeps her distance. Oh, gosh. As Jason leaves, Commissioner Gordon tells Batgirl she should not associate herself with someone like the Red Hood. Barbara addressing him as Dad. Oh, showing the fact that Gordon clearly knows her identity. Tells him that what people she hangs out with is none of his business. Meanwhile, the Batman and the only remaining Joker are inside the transport to Arkham. They talk about what happened. The Joker tells him that he knows Batman is Bruce Wayne, Batgirl is Barbara Gordon, Red Hood is Jason Todd. But this does not matter. Joker will never reveal their secret identity, because if he does, Bruce's Batman might end his career. Batman asks him what he truly wants. The Joker answers him, telling him he does not want what the other two desired. The clown just wants to see people suffer, laughing at them, which Joker finds boring. The criminal was an old delusional man because of the idea of creating a perfect Joker with an identity is dumb, because the Joker is the personification of mystery and chaos. Batman wants to end his game in jokes, but Joker tells him there's no joke this time around. The other two did not understand who he is. He's chaos, the devil, nothing and everything for Batman. He convinced them that Joe Chill would be the perfect Joker because he understood he would never be able to commit a crime more tragic than what Chill did to Bruce. He manipulated everyone and obtained what he wanted. The Batman saved Joe Chill's life and then forgave the poor old man as Bruce Wayne. So now the Joker can be his worst pain until they both die together. Oh, a love story. Meanwhile, Barbara is in the gym trying to keep her mind away from bad memories after she's broken 2 treadmills. Jason writes a letter for Barbara and tapes it to her door. Most people would slip it under the door or put it in, the mailbox for her apartment. But anyways, inside the letter, he confesses to Barbara he always loved her and that he's ready to even abandon the Red Hood identity for good if it means having a chance at being with her. But Barbara never reads the letter because it's like Tess of the D'Urbervilles. It falls, the janitor collects it with the broom, and it's basically detritus or detritus. So the message is gone. And so he says if he doesn't hear from her, then he'll assume that she wants nothing to do with him. So that's what's going to happen. In the aftermath, Bruce visits Cho just before he dies, giving him comfort and forgiveness. He then travels to Alaska and comes back to Gotham. Batman reveals to Alfred that he knew the Joker's true name all along, discovering 1 week after their first encounter, but his name is not important because revealing it would lead him to Joker's secret family. It is also revealed, which goes to that hallucination there. It is also revealed that Joker's pregnant wife was actually not killed, but taken to a secret place in Alaska and had a son. Batman explains that the Joker's true name must never be known because if the world knows that Joker had a secret family, it would be nationwide news and Joker would kill them. And that ends, oh my gosh, that synopsis. I swear that synopsis took 15 minutes. There was a point in like number 3 where I thought, what if I stopped, erased this, started over and just did a regular synopsis? But we just kept going. Okay. I want to say that hopefully this will let me do this. That I couldn't care less about the Joker storyline. What interested me the most, got to figure out how to finagle this. What interested me the most, honestly, was the character interactions, the characterizations found within this story. So I mean, in my comments for all this stuff, like it's really not about this particular story itself. Like Joker, I mean, I could care less with the Joker and the 3 Jokers and all that stuff. It's everything that's surrounding it that I think is the most engaging and interesting. So I'm going to go through this. I think I have beats that I will pull out in particular, and then sort of some discussions that I want to spend a bit more time on. But I don't know why I was using that. So first off, actually, when we get, this is interesting. A big point I have is continuity. And I think that's I think people feel like this is out of continuity. Jeff Johns says that it's in continuity. I don't think it's in continuity. A lot of the stuff doesn't really make sense with it being in continuity. When and why would he ever have a case with Batgirl's suit in there? That doesn't make sense to me at all. That assumes that their relationship when she was Batgirl was better than it actually was. So this, yeah. So two in one episode. Is that a record? Because we had the one in Harley Quinn and now we have this one. Shower scenes actually really annoy me, and I should actually be specific because Nicholas Scott has drawn this Hubba Hubba, amazing panel of Dick Grayson in the shower that's supposed to come up in an upcoming Nightwing. And hey, I'm fine with that. But that's objectification. But it's with the women. I'm just sort of over it. You know, watching anime, there are several shower scenes or like bath scenes, and I'm like, is this necessary? Why? Why? And it never seems as bad with guys. But this particular scene, and it's not, the intent is not to sexualize it, but it just seems to be sexualized with that way. I think, you know, just looking at that pose in the beginning with the shower scene seems like, yeah, this is a sexy scene. And then we're focusing on the bullet. So it's like it's exactly like, in my opinion, Heroes in Crisis in that whole scene, just like you get confused. You're having mixed ideas of what this scene is supposed to be. If I look at that second panel, I just be like, oh, it's a sexy scene with Barbara Gordon, which I don't want. And then we focus on the bullet, but I'm already turned off by it because we had that in the beginning. And then, of course, doing that. So just to say, I don't need it. I don't want it. Okay, so later on, I don't know where this is, but their jaws, oh, nerd, let's see, their jaws were broken into smiles, making matching dental records nearly impossible. I don't know if that's how dental records actually work, because you would have to like completely mold the whole face to mess that up. So I felt like that was a bit ridiculous. Um, the Does your father know you're Batgirl? Which we'll actually get back to. I said, oh, that's, you know, she says, of course not. But that contradicts what happens at the very end, but it also just annoys me. So even if we just look at this particular issue and that whole discussion, it just annoys me that he doesn't know. I think, why not? He absolutely should know by now. But then if you look at issue 3 where she says dad, and it's not a whisper, it's not a stage whisper, I find that interesting. The I have a question about what she's doing here. She's blowing up a tire. I looked at this for a while. To stop the ambulance, she's blowing up the tire, which seems ridiculous since there's a patient inside and 2 people are also fighting inside. So well done, Barbara. Again, yeah, I'm just going piecemeal, but there are some moments that I do want to talk about. So, when we get to, this is a huge, for me, this is a huge story point. So we've got this scene, Gaggy, here's Gaggy, and let's have some fun now. Jason Todd, he shoots it. He, agree or disagree, Jason Todd kills Gaggy. Okay. Now, the manner of death is Shark, but he is the one who sets a shark. So I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that Jason Todd kills Gaggy with that shark. Okay. So I found this really interesting. Let me see if I can find it. His reasons for becoming the Red Hood. Let me see if I can find this. Shoot. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So have you ever wondered why he uses my former moniker? This is the Joker talking. Who in their right mind would take on the identity of their killer? Am I right? And Jason says, I took it because I'm owning what you did to me. You made me into this. I'll be your destruction. And I found this really intriguing. And I don't know, I'm no Jason Todd expert, so I don't know if this jives with his previous characterizations, but this, oh man, it seems he is damaged. So I could say it seems really damaging, but also just really toxic, and like, what's happening here? I'm owning what you did to me. You made me into this. But to go, oh man, it just reminds me of Batgirl, what was it, 47 or whatever, where I got really upset that Joker and Barbara, were being associated with each other in this manner. Like, would you associate a victim with its or his or her abuser? And this is like, he's very much doing that, right? Like, he is now fully associating himself with his abuser. And ugh, I don't know, like, it seems really like badass, like, yeah, this is what happened to me, I'm owning it, I'm gonna be this. But also it's like, man, like, he is in you, Joker is in you, you're never going to be able to separate yourself from him. And if that's true, then golly, we can certainly see, I think, why Jason is the way he is. And that I think there's nothing that anyone could do, that Bruce could do, that Barbara could do, even though he says, Barbara, I would change for you, that he is like this. I just found that this was really intriguing. I don't know if, again, like I said, I don't know if this is something that's new with his characterization. But man, is there, trying to think of anyone else that sort of did that, Frank Castle, maybe, that's sort of taken on the guise of the other person. I guess, I mean, if his intent almost would be to like destroy the Joker, then it would almost be like, you made me into this and now you are destroying yourself. So if he were able to get rid of all of the Jokers and the original Joker specifically. But yeah, it's just a really intriguing idea. And I think then that characterization and juxtaposing Barbara and what she does with Jason, like, you can see sort of the two paths that, the one went this way, the other one went this way, the what if path. So I mean, think about the flip of what Jason Todd would have been like had he come back and been more like Batman, or if Barbara had owning what Joker did to her. And what would she wear? A Hawaiian outfit, a Hawaiian Batgirl outfit, and been lethal. So it's really interesting, but I just feel like it's so, I don't know if toxic is the right word, but my gosh, like, ugh, you're wearing his skin, like, I don't know. It's almost though that Joker has won the fact that he has done this. Like, if you're owning that and you made me into this, it's like he won. Wouldn't it have been better to stick it to the Joker and not become that or the Red Hood? Because it's like paying homage. It's almost like respect and giving props to the Joker. So yeah, so I've been thinking about that. So that's pretty interesting. So then, of course, we have Jason shooting the Joker. And I do have to say that, yeah, reading this after reading Joker Last Laugh was interesting, just because Jason is very much speaking in the way that Barbara was speaking in that storyline, and Barbara is speaking in the way that Dick was initially speaking to Barbara in that story as well. Oof. And then, yeah, so this is something I'll come back to, but the fact that it's revealed that Jason pled for his life, and so that he wouldn't be killed, he said that he would be Joker's Robin. So I'll get to that at the end of my whole thing. But he ends up killing him, and of course the big thing is that she throws her batarang and it hits something. It looks like it hits his hand, maybe, or swipes through, because there's like a blood trail there, and he is dead. And the big reveal, of course, is that you miss. When's that last time you missed Barbara? And she doesn't say anything. She's stepping in. This is a pretty big scene, I would say, and she doesn't say anything except screw you, Jason, which this is 17 is a black label, so I would think there'd be some heavier language, but that's okay, Babs. I'm okay with you not saying the F word. But I feel like, yeah, subconsciously that might be true, but like, shame on her. And then if we do take this as factual, that there was a subconscious slip and she didn't fully stop him from shooting. I think then there's some hypocrisy going into how hard she's pushing Batman to get Jason arrested and undergone. So then this whole thing though, because this is going to carry through the rest of the issues, is that he killed Joker. I don't understand why everyone is so upset about this, but no one's upset about Gaggy. Jason killed Gaggy. And why are people all of a sudden so upset here? They should have been upset initially at Jason killing Gaggy. Then he should have been ripped off the case and not have been here. So I'm super confused about that and feel like that is an inconsistency. But a heavy and, I don't know, weighty scene for sure, for sure. And I hope that's the right one. Man, he would go through and kill all of them. Is this the one where it hurts to laugh is symbolic? Or I don't remember if this was the one. I feel like that was later on. That's in issue number 2, because I do have something to say about the hurting to laugh. Oof, man. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. So I mean, the screw you, Jason, could be he's calling her out and he's right. And so she doesn't like having to own up to that potentially. So that's number 3. Not much analysis on my half, just some particular points, but I would say it's just interesting. Batman doesn't yell at Jason for killing Gaggy, and then, we get this whole thing, and which will carry us through that he killed one of the Jokers. Okay, so that's number 1. I'm going to stop the share and move on to number 2. We do it. Okay, number 2. Okay. Yeah, I know. The first thing I say is, OMG, why are they so... Ugh. I have to say that some of this actually reminds me of the bad Batgirl era in New 52. Golly. Where's Hood? Yeah, so, yeah, the first thing I say is, OMG, why are they so upset about this dead Joker, not Gaggy? I just, oh boy. So, the Batman and the Batgirl conversation about Jason. Really interesting. I think a lot of them, not a lot of them. Batman is a Batman that I almost can't recognize in this book. And I do mean it positively. It's just that I'm not used to this. I would say, is the most compassionate Batman that I've ever seen. I shouldn't say ever seen. He is the most compassionate Batman that I've experienced in a while, because, I'm in the 2000s with my book and I call him a bat jerk. But here's one of these examples that oh man, it's really hard for him. You see this, and I'm sure we saw this before. It's been a while since I read Death in the Family, but the fact that he can't forgive himself for Jason, that however he can help Jason, he hopes can add up somehow in making up for what happened before that. He thought he was dead and didn't help him when he came back. And then this really big moment, I feel like, why did you wait until now to think he needed to be talked to? And he says, I was hoping he was more like you. So giving him the benefit of the doubt that he would, while he had this dark history as the Red Hood, that he would come around and be like Babs, who went through, again, not a similar but not a dissimilar trauma, and she was able to pull out of it. So that there again is that I think having Jason and Babs in this story is really interesting, because you can see the other half, what would have happened had I gone down this particular path. But just, I was hoping he was more like you. I mean, when have we ever, not often, when have we ever seen Batman really compliment and show that amount of regard and respect for Barbara? Not often. So just big moments. I feel like in this particular scene here. I do. I was trying to figure out what I meant by my particular note, but he's not weak, Jason. I think especially in the later part of this issue, he holds up. And I think if he were a weaker person, he would have become Joker like the Jokers want him to. And so he's strong, but perhaps in a way that doesn't fit with Batman's moral code, his ethics and everything. And certainly not, if we were to compare Jason with someone who's on the outside of the line, it would probably be Huntress, though she has her different reasons. Like, that's not necessarily, never mind, that's coming from trauma too. So he's a strong character, just in a different way. I think he is able to withstand a great deal. It's just that he went down this other path, which now we know why, as we think back to him saying that he wanted to be what the Joker made him to a certain extent. Okay, I do think something that I'm not used to is Jason being a good detective. He's the one, I think, in two different cases. I mean, wasn't he the one that helped them get to the aquarium, and then he helps himself get to that particular pool? I don't know if I see him do that often, so I appreciate that characterization of him. Missed opportunity right here, folks. This is Black Label. We could have had so much male nudity, especially when Jason is nude. Can we get to that? Look at this. But we did not see any male nudity, and it was Black Label. I guess they learned from Batman Damned with his little wee that they weren't going to do it again. This actually kind of reminds me of Casino Royale and that scene that makes everyone super nervous. I will say that scene, that's where this is a horrifying scene with all those zombies coming out to get them. Feels very Resident Evil. And I think this is where he says it hurts to laugh. And I wondered about that. Does it hurt when you laugh? Da, 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 da. Ethan or Joker? Shoot. I can't remember. I know it happens in this scene, though. It hurts when I laugh, which I find really interesting. Like, it really does. If you look at that bottom left panel, it really does seem like it's hurting his head somehow. So it's got to be some sort of physical issue. But I just wonder if there's some sort of symbolism as well, that it hurts when he laughs. Like, he's got to force himself to do it. These sorts of situations really aren't funny, but he's got to find his way into it. I don't know. I feel like there's something. It's saying something. And it also reminds me of the times where Babs as Batgirl, has laughed at Joker, and he's really not like that. It hurts when I laugh. Yeah. I just feel like it's more than just physical. I think that there is a literal, he's in pain, but man, for the Joker, for him to hurt when he laughs, I mean, that's kind of crazy. That's his whole shtick. And so it's almost like his whole existence is pointless and it's all a sham. I don't know. Something to think about. What does that mean to you? The non-literal meaning. Okay. Let's see here. Babs and Jason. So I've got something with it. And I said, oh gosh, am I all right? Oh man, that is a dumb question. Jason, are you all right? What do you think? Oh gosh, you did this to me. You put me on the path. Oh man. And I do hate you for it, for leaving me in the dirt, replacing me with one Robin after another without a thought. And one of my notes here is actually, I suppose Jason and Barbara share a similar hatred of Bruce when you come down to it. And I think we don't see that in this particular issue with Barbara hating Bruce, because I think she and Bruce seem to be very much in line with one another on many things, not necessarily the Jason situation. But yeah, I mean, if you think about I would feel, if we put in the Killing Joke and all of that, I heard you and he laughed together. What were you laughing at? Were you laughing at me? And then the playing card, I never forget about that playing card and all of that stuff and how he treated her afterwards, which some people would say it's caring, but also just keeping her on surveillance and everything like that. I feel like there is a similar hatred there, though Jason, I think, has difficulty getting over. I don't think maybe he won't ever get over it. And I think Barbara, while there might still be some resentment, I don't think it's hate. And I think she has healed. I think healing is oftentimes an ongoing, ever-present process, especially with what she's been through. But these two characters are really similar. Like this is what I'm saying about Three Jokers. Who cares about Joker? Who cares about the storyline? But to have a case study of these characters, I think is the most interesting part of this story, and to see what Batman's relationship has been like, what his effect on them has been like, it is something that is really interesting and has given me new insight, I think, into Barbara Gordon as well. I like how in this particular, well, gosh, yeah, what about Jason? Yeah, see, look at all this stuff. He needs you here. See, there's some anger there because I feel like that's some of the stuff that she would have gone through. Like, I needed you here. Where were you? But now it's transferred on Jason. So it's almost like she's reliving that whole thing. This is interesting, just that she is taking care of Jason. So she was cared for after the Killing Joke, and now she's the one that is caregiving. And I liked this scene that he finds all that stuff and sees what she's been going through, and how much stronger she's gotten with all of that. And so this is, I feel like there's rewriting history going on. So healing with the help of my dad, my physical therapist, and so many other people who were there for me. I tried to look at the positive, a tragedy that I was able to literally walk away from thanks to the people that loved me. I just feel like I disagree with her sentiment that she was able to walk away because of the people who loved her. At least we didn't see that. We didn't see that in comics history. And I felt like, well, Jim probably definitely would have been there. Batman, was he really there as much? I think we'll see later on some rewriting of the events there of Post-Killing Joke with Nightwing and whether he was there or not. But for me, gosh, it just seems like she was doing it mostly on her own. Like, I might give her father and everything, but other people, I don't know. I feel like we're maybe it's best that we rewrite this history, that we have it more positive, but it seemed really negative after all of that happened. And that's mostly, I think, with DC and editorial and what they wanted done with her. And now it's like looking back, like, hey, look at what she's overcome. It was probably a really positive thing. So for me, I feel like, I don't think that's the way that happened, but maybe it's better that it's this way. I'm not sure. Okay. We have this moment. Let's see here. We all wish we had been there for you. Who hadn't said that? That's so interesting that all of a sudden, she's speaking. She's the mouthpiece of the Bat family. It's almost like the regrets of DC Comics is coming through her mouth, that we all wanted to be there for you, Jason. No one has ever said that to me. Really? No one? And then, of course, we have this shipperific moment. He's in a towel. He is in a towel. So I think I'll wait to talk about it, but just know that it's a shipper and know that I'm not disgusted by it. Okay, I do have opinions on it, but we shouldn't have done that. Oh my, just want to let you know. Okay, don't kiss someone if you want them to know you care about them. Maybe just give them a hug or something, even though he's in a towel. And yeah, just the close up on the case. I don't really understand that. And I also don't know. So there's another reason why I don't think it's in continuity. The suit that she's wearing, the black and yellow suit, she would not have that in this particular era. Like where it is now, if it were in continuity, she would have the black and gray one that was created when she moved back to Gotham. And yeah, having the black and yellow one just makes her so much of a Batman acolyte and sidekick to Batman than I feel comfortable with. And so that's one of the lower points, or one of my cons of this story, is that because we are missing people like Tim, which I guess in continuity, or Damian or Dick, Barbara has very much filled that particular role and is Batman's right hand man woman. And that's from the very beginning, where she's up on the rooftop feeding him some information and him getting that. But symbolically, to have this black and yellow to really, I think, more match Batman is interesting. I don't like it. I don't like what that means. I like the respect that he gives her in this, but I think it might be misplaced. I think it's out of necessity for the storyline rather than out of necessity for what the character deserves. Okay. I think that's it that I want to say for, yeah. Okay. So we'll stop that share. Your screen showing is cool. Okay. So I think, okay, last one is number 3, and then we'll do overall analysis. And let us share this last one. Boop. We good? Hopefully. Okay. Number 3. Okay, yeah. So starting in issue 2, I guess it was, there's lots of talk. Oof. There's lots of talk about, is this happening here? Yeah. About, let's bring Jason, let's make him accountable for this murder, not of Gaggy. BTW, how many times do I need to mention that? For murder, it's stupid. That's like the worst part of this is, yeah, let's bring him. He's got to go. Murder. Why wouldn't you have done that for anybody else? For Huntress? I mean, even though I am a Huntress apologist, why wouldn't you have done that before now? And then just there's no way they would seriously consider this. I even mentioned in my notes, look at Huntress. It's just also not what Batman does. He just disavows and disowns people. And then, of course, throwing everybody's identities in there, and Barbara would probably be arrested too because she was there and all of this. It's just like, why, one issue was enough. You should have just let it rest, but it comes up again. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay. Oh, somebody says, oh, look, you have to see how manipulative that, oh no. Okay. Yeah, so this panel, you're not siding with him, are you? I mean, come on, Barbara, you have to see how manipulative he is. Look what he dragged us into. And I questioned it. I said, Bruce, manipulative? Has Babs been manipulated? And, well, number one, what he's dragged us into. Jason, I think he's talking on 2 levels. He's got the macro and the micro level. I think he's certainly talking about this whole case. And then I think that's the small. And then the large is just that he dragged them into being who they are currently, Red Hood and Batgirl. And golly, no, if he believes that, though, think of how he's basically saying he's a weak-minded individual. He's the one. What? I don't know. Was he manipulated into becoming Robin? Feel like he enjoyed it for a certain period of time. Maybe he was manipulated in the beginning, but Babs did that. Oh, now it depends on the era of Batgirl, but Babs did it of her own accord. She wasn't manipulated into anything. Sorry. Was she ever manipulated? I wonder. I feel like there may have been times. I can't think of one off the top. I feel like as Oracle, I think there were potentially times that he tricked her into doing certain things, and she did not like that. But in this moment, I don't know if that is true, though the whole fact that he does lie to them, as we find out in the end, I think is problematic with that. But is Batman manipulative? I mean, that's a huge question. I wonder from you guys, you listeners, you viewers, do you find Batman a manipulative character? I wonder. I don't know. I manipulative is not necessarily the first word that I would think of. I'm trying to think, even with Cass and what's been going on there. Maybe. I think it depends on what character he is with. There might be certain circumstances with Cassandra, or, you know, kind of convincing her to get out of the clock tower. I feel like maybe that was a small form of manipulation. With Huntress, I think there might be some manipulation there as well. So maybe, but to call him I don't know. I don't know. I think that's I'm going to defend Batman to a certain extent in this story, but I'll say no. I did. Here's where I brought up that Bruce is softer in the story. I don't mean it as an insult, but he just doesn't hold on to grudges. I mean, he's ready to start over. Is this here? We have to start over and do that. When have you ever seen Batman do that? We have to start over. I think that's amazing for him. Not even, I mean, this is what, a short time period, but Joe Chill, ready to forgive Joe Chill. We also see him showing, I think, empathy. We see some fear, especially when he goes to Chill's cell and has trouble speaking, which I think that was in number 2, so I missed that one. But the font is very small, like, you know, when you hello, hello, that kind of thing, and whoa, we've never seen that sort of thing happen. And here, I would say that at times I felt like Barbara was more like the Bruce Wayne / Batman that I get annoyed at than Bruce actually is, just because you can't let the Joker murder go, which again, gaggy, hashtag gaggy rip, get that trending. But yeah, I like this characterization. It's just different. It's odd to see it at times. Oh yeah, there was a weird segue that I didn't get as much. Where, yeah. Oh yeah, right here. He's probably some nobody. So this is a bad thing. I don't like that Bruce did this. I guess that's more in line with the character that I would foresee. So is there anything else you can tell us, Bruce? And he says, yes. I'm sorry I failed you, Jason. So that's just like a weird, really? You're gonna, I guess he's trying to non-subtly get off of that particular subject and get back onto Jason, or he was never off of Jason's, that whole thing. Okay. Oh, yep. So my critique again with, and there are some shipper moments there. I skipped over that one particular one that he would give up Red Hood for her. Where was this? Ooh, yeah, look, okay. So we see this Blam goes through his shoulder. Again, please, oh my gosh, why don't these people wear body armor or some consistency? Batman forgives, basically. Not even basically. Batman forgives his parents' murderer. And really, is there anything potentially stronger in comics than that? And so that's something that I wish would be in continuity. Some of these characterizations here, I think, are really interesting. So that's huge. That was a huge moment for Batman. And I like how he is in this particular story. Later on, we have this moment. Here we are. You okay? I'm fine, Commissioner. Derpa, derpa, derpa. And you have my support as much as Batman does, but Red Hoodie isn't someone you should be involved with. What I do with him isn't your business. ... Dad. So this is huge. So contradicts number 1. And there's no reaction, as if like she's coming out of the closet. And so he would freak out because that was the first time. But that is not a whisper. I'm looking at the font. The font is the same size as the previous bubble that is attached to it. So In this continuity, Barbara and Jim do know each other. But yeah, if that's true, though, I just wonder if he does know that Babs and Batgirl are one and the same. Does it make sense that he would say you have my support as much as Batman does? Because I wonder if he would play the protective father and say, I would rather you not be in this business. So that's really interesting. Does she out him? Should that font have been smaller and it was a whisper? I don't know, but that's super duper interesting. But I feel like it's an out of continuity story. So there we go. Okay, the letter, we see Jason attempting to change. Is it this one? Yeah. And the question, though, is Jason changing for himself or for Barbara? And I've already talked about Tess of the D'Urbervilles, which the reference is that Tess, kind of on the eve of her wedding, it was a little farther off, wrote this letter confessing what had happened to her, which was basically that she was sexually assaulted, and slips it under the door, but it gets under the carpet, and so her groom-to-be doesn't get the letter, and a whole sort of problems arise after that. But anyways, so is he changing for himself or for Barbara? And then my second question with this is, and this is for you guys as well, if you're still tuning in, should people with shared trauma be romantically involved? Which I think is a big one. So I feel like he is changing for the hope of Barbara. He is not changing for himself, which I think is a mistake. I don't think you should change for someone. I think you need to change recognizing that you have shortcomings and you might need to work on yourself. And for someone to say that I am owning what you did to me, Joker, and I'm going to be what you made me, that person, I think, needs to work on themselves. And so Babs, I cannot be that instrument of change, that the reason why, the means why she's instrument of change. Maybe that doesn't work, but the reason, she can't be the reason. I don't think that is healthy, because that means that everything, you are reliant on her. And if anything were to fall through, which it is because the letters gets thrown away in the trash, that means that you're not going to change because the person you were relying on said no, basically, tacitly. Okay, so there's that one. I think he's changing for Babs, but he needs to change for himself. The second one, should people with shared trauma be romantically involved? And please, people write in. I'd love to hear what you have to say about is Jason trying to change for himself or for Babs? And then with this shared trauma, I just watched rewatched. It's been a while. And 2 times, once it was said by Sandra Bullock's character and once by Keanu Reeves' character, was something about relationships that start off from trauma never work out or something like that. That's basically the gist. And I chuckled at that because I rewatched it after I had read this. And I feel like that's true. Just like people, I don't know, who are sharing loss, that might not be the best. Now, this is not an always and forever kind of thing, because there are always exceptions to things. But once you strip that away, to have trauma be the basis, to have this circumstance be the basis of their relationship, or the fact that they share the Joker in common, do you want to be in a relationship with someone like that? Or not really like that. Sorry, that sounded wrong. But in a relationship with someone that shares that, is that all you're going to get? Like, is that your only commonality? And so that's all you're going to talk about? Because I wonder, are these two compatible? So I guess we'll get into, so I think it's dangerous for the shared trauma situation, because I think that you need to work on that trauma apart from each other and then come together. And so I think that goes back to the changing for yourself rather than the other person. And then maybe you can be together. But I think there needs to be space. If these two were to get together, there needs to be some serious space and working that out and then coming together. And I think Babs might have the right way of it, just that now I don't know why because that was a weird, I mean, that moment itself I can kind of understand, but the reaction afterwards is like, whoa, yeah, you're misinterpreting it. Well, I don't think at the time, I don't think he was misinterpreting it, but you made a mistake kissing him. So are these two compatible? So here's the big question people wonder about this ship. Now, this is the second time I've seen these two together. The other one was Batman and Robin Eternal, where he was very much the voice of reason. She was off the wall bonkers, and he was pulling her back from the ledge. And I appreciated that. And I think there were some good romantic potential moments. But having a serious relationship between these two, I don't think I can see. I think there'd have to be some major development. And I think more time together platonically and leading up to that before any romance could happen. So right now, no, I just don't think they're as compatible as, say, Dick and Babs. And I think his outlook on life is dour. And I think she sometimes has a dour outlook on life, and she really needs a positive influence on her life. And I think these two would date to the detriment of each other. So, and I'm not only going to blame Jason on that. I don't think it's Jason bringing Babs down. I think Babs would potentially bring Jason down to a certain extent. I think right now it seems like she would elevate him because that's how this was presented, but she's got her own baggage that she needs to get through. And so I just don't think it's a good idea. I do feel bad about the letter being tossed in there. I think they could have a serious conversation. That's kind of a dumb way to have that end, but there we are. Okay. There's that. Joker. Yeah, I mean, Batman knows his name, so I do wonder why he lies to the squad. I understand his reasonings for the world, but why not trust people? Is this because Jason is there? If only Babs were there, would he have told Babs? But then that sort of contradicts, I think, what he was saying and trying to believe in Jason and giving him the benefit of the doubt. Like give him trust. Though in this instance, even though I always say, why doesn't Batman trust so and so? I do feel like he would go off. Jason would do something with that mother and son, and I don't know, try to trap the Joker, and then it would turn out poorly. But I do wonder if Babs had been the only one in the cave, would Bruce have told her? And then I do wonder if Joker, the actual Joker, knows that his wife and son are in fact alive, because hallucination images, specifically of the son, because the wife, you can understand he was with the wife, but his son just looks as he does in reality. So I do wonder about that particular moment. Okay, so that's, I mean, overall, the big character moments and those discussions, hopefully that was worthwhile, worth the 15-minute synopsis that I had. What I wonder about, I think I've discussed the continuity as much as I really need to. I think no, I don't think it makes sense for it to be in continuity as much as the writer feels like yes. It in my opinion, it does not make sense. What does this add? What does this add to the Joker, Batman, Robin, Batgirl mythology? Because I think if it is this special that you were paying overpriced, right? And it was in the black label and all of that stuff, was it worthwhile? With Jason, I think we learn that whole I'll be your Robin. I think that was this shocker there, and learning the reasons of why he wanted to become Red Hood and just how damaged he really is. With Joe Chill, we learn about his disabilities that he had, which I think provides him with more empathy. Like the reader can perhaps empathize a bit more with him, that he wasn't able, as the story, he wasn't able to do well in school, I think, because of his disabilities. And then his whole life went away with that, basically, and he was poor and downtrodden, and he didn't realize that the Waynes were trying to help people out. And so I think while obviously what he did was wrong, I think better understanding people who, I mean, there are actual people who are in situations like that. So perhaps we're giving empathy towards Joe Chill, who may have mostly been a one-dimensional character leading up to now. Maybe there's a commentary on the criminal justice system, just with his experiences in there. And I said, golly, could Joe Chill be Bigger Thomas? I forgot I wrote that because I was thinking as I was talking, like, wow, this reminds me of Bigger Thomas. And shoot, now I can't remember what that book is called, even though I'm going to talk about it later on. But yeah, it's almost like that, just this, I don't know, almost like hating yourself, hating society, and then it leads you to do something unspeakable that you later regret, but then you sort of have dug yourself into a big hole and you need to get yourself out of there. So with Joe Chill, we learned some stuff. Batman forgiving Joe Chill, I think, was huge. Perhaps truly understanding Jason and Barbara's trauma for the first time. I think, especially Jason, but through that, perhaps Barbara's as well. And then Joker, I mean, he's number one in Bruce's life again, just in another way. So I don't know that this necessarily did anything to enhance his character. And with Barbara, ooh, I don't know if I learned anything new about Barbara. I think she is portrayed more like Batman than Batman is. I think she has she's held in higher regard and is given more respect by Batman than she is normally. You've got that shipping and you kind of have to figure all that out, and you see, I think, her conflicting feelings in or towards Joker. And we also learn apparently that she was able to pull herself up by several loved ones. So I guess that's a bit new. So adding more positivity to her history, I guess, is what we learned. So is this worthwhile? I think if you're a Jason Todd or a Barbara Gordon fan, maybe you should read it. And I think it asks questions, and those character moments, like I said, like even Batman. I mean, Joker, people are going to read it because of the Joker, but like I said, I couldn't care less. It was everything else but the Joker that I was interested in. Oh yeah, I guess we could say with Barbara that apparently Jim knows her identity, and she's very open with it. So there you go. So I mean, I could rate it out of what, 10 Jokers. What would I give this? Huh. But it's not the story. I'm rating like the character interactions and all of that. Maybe a solid 8? I don't know. Just with character interactions though. Maybe an 8 out of 10 Jokers. So there you go. I mean, I don't know. I may have shocked people by saying that more or less I enjoyed it. And I have thought a great deal about some of these circumstances, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. What are the 3 questions? Do you feel like Batman is a manipulative person? If so, examples. Do you feel like Jason would change for Babs or for himself? And should people with shared trauma be romantically involved? So those are, I think, the 3 questions. Oh, and then actually the 4th question is there any significance with the quote, "It hurts to laugh," or is it just to be taken literally? Okay, so that's my coverage on 3 Jokers. So now I just have anime watch list and literature recommendation, which of course those will go on for a long time. Okay, so anime watch list. I have at work. And believe me when I say I'm absolutely working, because I'm just waiting for patients to be called in. And so in between those patients, I just watch an episode of anime or something like that. So I watched Iwa Kakeru Sport Climbing Girls. It's 12 episodes, 2020 came out. Konomi Kasahara, a junior high school girl, has made a big name after winning numerous competitive puzzle game tournaments. The story begins when she finds a sports climbing club in her high school. Using special skills other than that of puzzle games, Kasahara becomes fascinated with climbing. And so that was a lot of fun and gave me some motivation for working out and things like that. And then K-On!, which is 2 seasons, a special and a movie. I am currently on the second season. The first season's 13 no. The first season's 14 episodes. It's 12 and then 2 like holiday specials. Second season's 26 and then the movie. And this was coming out around 2009. A fresh high school year always means much to come, and one of those things is joining a club. Being in a dilemma about which club to join, Yui Hirasawa stumbles upon and applies for the light music club, which she misinterprets to be about playing simple instruments such as castanets. Unable to play an instrument, she decides to visit to apologize and quit. Meanwhile, the light music club faces disbandment due to a lack of members. This causes the club members to offer anything from food to slacking off during club time in order to convince Yui to join. Despite their efforts, Yui insists on leaving due to her lack of musical experience. As a last resort, they play a piece for Yui, which sparks her fiery passion and finally convinces her to join the club. From then onward, it's just plain messing around with bits and pieces of practice. The members of the light music club are ready to make their time together a delightful one. I could put this under Shag's mac and cheese of comfort and joy as well. And this has just been so fun. It's a slice of life, but I don't know if I've laughed out loud as much as I have with an anime as I have here. And I'm at work, so I'm like laughing out loud. I pause and then I rewind to watch that particular scene again. But the teacher's ridiculous in what she does, and some of the things the girls, some of the that they get up to is interesting. So I recommend it, giving it a shot. I am watching the dub on Netflix. I don't know if there is a subtitled version, but there you go. Okay. Well, the what are you wearing segment, and just a Wonder Woman jacket basically, and a UVA hoodie, and then of course this purple here, which is the story, right? This purple fringe in my hair. I went to go get my hair cut before Christmas, and my stylist said, for Christmas, I'll give you a color highlight for your bangs for free. And so I was emotionally prepared for a haircut, but then this one I thought, oh, I don't know. And so I thought, you know what, mine as well. I own up to be a nonconformist and somewhat adventurous, so I had to live up to that name, and I did it. So it's purple and it's supposed to wash out, and I will say that recently when I've been washing my hair, that the purple water has not been dripping, so I feel like it's not washing out anymore. So it should be interesting. I especially wonder what will happen once I need to get the blonde touched up. But there you go. Okay, and now we are on literature recommendations, which could be a bunch. I went to the wrong one. Went to want to read. And I read 133 books in 2020, so I did beat my original challenge that I had on Goodreads. Okay, so the last one I mentioned was The Queer History, The Gay Revolution. Yeah. Okay. So next up, Light of the World by Elizabeth Alexander, that was a memoir of a woman who lost her husband, and she is a poet. So the language, even though it's in prose, really beautiful. So I gave that 5 stars. Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe was okay. That was for my reading list, so I just needed to get it over with. I mean, I don't know that I would have chosen to read that otherwise. The 5 Years Omnibus by Terry Moore, so connecting basically all of his stories with Echo and Strangers in Paradise and Rachel Rising, so that was really good. I do have some questions though. Sweet Bird of Youth by Tennessee Williams, which was a downer of a play, a downer. So I like other Tennessee Williams plays more, so it was okay. Native Son, this is it, by Richard Wright. um what to say about this. So this is where Bigger Thomas comes in. So I think it's both heavily lauded, highly lauded, and criticized. And it's lauded because it gives insight into uh, basically what a black man would feel and think during this time, 1950s, I believe. And so from his perspective, so this was something that was innovative. Criticized, and I I was totally following along with this. I'm like, wow, this is hard to read, but I'm glad they're showing this perspective of, he hates himself, he hates society, he hates his family, he hates other people, he hates the white people helping him out. Like, I totally got, this anger and everything. And then all of a sudden he, as I called it, he Lennied a girl, kind of by accident, but then it quickly got out of control, because then after he Lennied her, and I mean Lenny as in of mice and men, he suffocates her in this case. He then cuts off her, he cuts off her head and shoves her body in a stove, and then and the head as well. And so it just quickly got out of control from there, and lost a lot of empathy for me, I'm afraid. So the criticism really starts from there. Well, perhaps before, is that Bigger Thomas, while we may be seeing his perspective, his point of view, unfortunately, he lives up to every terrible stereotype that people have, and probably just white people, that people have about black people and black men in particular. I don't really need to go into what those stereotypes are, but he falls into every one of them. Um, not every, but it is just bad. Like, what sort of character are you creating here? And also, another reason why I didn't like him is he reminded me of the lead character in Crime and Punishment. Basically, it was just another version of Crime and Punishment, and I did not like that either, where this guy was like so desperate he had to murder in order to get the money. And because Bigger, like after the murder, he decides he's going to do a whole ransom sort of thing, and he gets himself into more trouble. Oh, yeah. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I don't think I would recommend it, but I think it has an interesting place in history for sure. I then read, this seems wrong that I read these. I don't know about that. Okay. The Hunger Games and Philosophy, a Critique of Pure Treason, by several authors, which I borrowed from one of my friends. So several essays talking about different aspects of the Hunger Games. From Scratch, a memoir of love, Sicily, and finding home by Tembi Locke. Another memoir about a woman who lost her husband, and going through their history and their time together. And race is an issue in that one, just because she is black and he is an Italian, so that pops up as well. The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, which I recommend. Just 2 essays really in there, and one's more of a letter. Isola Volume 2 by Brendan Fletcher and Carl Kerschel. So that was, I feel like Isola is not coming back. I don't know. It's been delayed. Just like Motor Crush has like stopped too. But I enjoyed that. Pearl Volume 2 by Brian Michael Bendis. I enjoy that. And the art is amazing. Who does the art? Let me check this out, just so I can give proper credit where credit is due. Michael Gatos. Just really interesting about the tattoo artist that is also part of the Yakuza. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, which is the 3rd time that I'm reading it. You can check out February's episode of required reading for that. The Polysyllabic Spree by Nick Hornby was one of the interlibrary loans. That was a memoir. It was funny because it was Hornby reading books each month and writing about his experience in reading those. And some of the books that he was talking about, I had also read. And then Nervous System or Losing My Mind in Literature by Jan Lars Jensen. And I really like this, another interlibrary loan, though I was caught off guard. So I thought it was a memoir, which I found it interesting. Like, I had 2 back-to-back interlibrary loans that were about reading books. I thought it was a memoir. And then the first chapter, which was only about 3 pages, was so bizarre that I thought, wait a minute, maybe this is fiction. And then actually, no, it's a memoir, and it's of his time in a psychiatric ward. He had a breakdown. Well, he doesn't like to call it a nervous breakdown, but lots of things came together. And it was all surrounding the publishing of his book. And it's almost some of these things like that he was thinking about and going through is almost I don't want to sound but it's just like you can't imagine. It's almost like absurd. Like, how could this possibly be? Which is why I like it. And I think it'd be a good book. And this is the third time I'm talking about mental illness, but this is a good book to, I think, look at for people trying to understand it. Just that you can't, it's hard to understand. And these people, there are certain people that are undergoing or experiencing things that we are not. And you can't just like dispose of them, but you have to better understand what they're going through. So it's like some of the stuff was just, whoa, man, what's going on? There's no one out there trying to assassinate you, but he was living that. And so I think that's something that we have to reach out and try to better understand. So I enjoyed that as well. And he is better. He's better. I don't know what he's currently doing. I think currently he is, besides writing that memoir, he writes periodicals and things. I just dropped that off for, at the library, so I no longer have it. But there you go. Those are all the books I read this particular month. I have an audiobook that I'm trying to finish up that's also have race in the center. And then I'm reading something about bridging the gap between white women and black women. And then I just got out A Stamp from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. So for some reason, which I guess is good, but it just like organically happened, I've been reading lots of things about race or black stories, which is good. But that's what I was trying to, the queer history. And then hopefully I can find, I don't know, some other stuff like things about maybe Latinx people or something, so I can spread the wealth around. So this is it. I feel like this went on longer and I apologize. That synopsis, I think, was probably the low point of this episode. But I started and I thought I might as well just finish it. But as I was going, I was catching grammar, spelling issues, and just trying to figure out what the person was saying. So I do apologize about that, but we made it through, and hopefully you enjoyed the rest of that coverage. Remember, you can send any questions or comments to batgirltheoracle@gmail.com. Remember, I want to know, is Batman manipulative? Does Jason want to change for himself or Babs? Should people who share trauma be romantically involved? And is there anything deeper in saying it hurts to laugh coming from the Joker? So those are the 4 questions I think I put forth. I don't think I did anything in the first half. You can find the show on Google Play and Stitcher and Amazon, like the show on Facebook, or follow it on Twitter at Batgirl the Oracle, and follow it on YouTube, Batgirl the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast, no longer all one word. I fixed that. Wasn't sure I could, but I did. So you can, of course, watch this unedited video. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, Follow the Batman Universe on Facebook and Twitter as well, and support the Batman Universe by subscribing to Patreon. Once again, thanks to Mile High Comics for sponsoring Batgirl the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast. And until next time, so next month, I will be doing the Shipper Special number 10 with Donovan, and we're going to be doing DC Comics couples. I should say DC Comics romances, because I told him that I'm okay with them if they were never an official couple, but you have to give reasons, and it needs to, any of the romances you choose have to have some sort of personal effect or impact on you. And then later in the month, I'll be doing, like I said, I'll do the Batman stuff, and then last stories of the DC universe, and then for the vintage Batman Orpheus Rises. And I have some people that I want to come on for Orpheus, but they're hard to get for some reason. So if I don't have them, I'll let you know, and I'll have somebody else on to talk to me about that. So we shall see. But until next time, fly on, Babs lovers.